Sometimes in tournaments we get very unlikely pairings.
And it does not get more unlikely than a 12-year-old girl against a war-torn veteran with venomous blood.
Today we have the girl genius Rebecca Hawkins
taking on cold-blooded Professor Thelonious Viper.
We will compare their strengths and weaknesses as duelists to better see who would win in a duel to the last life point.
Now, let's get to our first challenger, Rebecca Hawkins.
Rebecca Hawkins is the 12-year-old daughter of Arthur Hawkins, an old friend of Solomon Moto.
Or as anyone else knows him, Grandpa Moto.
She originally met Yugi and the gang with a grudge against Yugi, caused by Bandit Keith when he lied about Grandpa stealing the Blue-Eyed White Dragon from her grandfather.
But through the cheesy power of friendship, she saw the error of her ways and decided to trade in her teddy bear for a pair of glasses before returning in Season 4.
Despite her appearance, in her own time she was actually rated #1 in America.
She also placed 3rd in Kaiba's Grand Championship.
She was a helpful ally during the time Dart and his merry band of motorcycle thugs ravaged the land.
Duelists who were so lame that not one made it in this tournament, even the one that technically beat Yami.
Unless you got My Valentine, Weevil Underwood, but let's get back to Rebecca's deck.
She originally used a combo involving sending monsters to the graveyard with Cannon Soldier to raise Shadow Ghoul's attack, while also doing life point damage, as well as using the Ring of Magnetism on her Millennium Shield so no other monster could be attacked.
However, during the second appearance, she mainly used a dragon deck based off the Mighty Luster Dragon, as well as support cards for dragon-type monsters.
Later on, she added cards to cause an anti-cure combo with the use of mainly Fire Princess and Marie the Fallen One.
Those combos may seem a bit outdated, but she has used them well to beat many opponents in her young dueling career.
Despite her age, she is quite intelligent, even in college by age 12. Though her stature may seem petite, she is not a duelist you can take lightly.
She has often been proof that even a child can win a children's card game. Wait a minute.
Now let's get to her much more intimidating looking opponent, Professor Viper.
Professor Thelonious Viper is a professor for West Academy and acted as a main antagonist for 2 arches of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
He is a cold and distant war veteran who made a deal with Yubel. Him, her, itself.
The reason behind this is due to the loss of his adopted son Pierce, who tragically lost his life during a car accident.
He made a deal with Yubel in hopes of the revival of his son, and I'm sure that went well and... oh, yeah, he sure has a lot of blood down there.
But we magically saved him in a portal, so he may duel a small little girl at the last second, avoiding that messy ending.
Other than that, he has only been seen once in a duel against Jade and Yuki.
Though he came on the losing end of that match, it is one of the longest and most difficult matches Jaden had to go through. Only barely scoring the last win in the last second from, you know, his typical
cheating
fashion.
Getting to his deck, he has a basic build of a Venom deck, a type of snake-themed reptile deck which inflicts monsters with Venom counters.
These counters are put into effect with the help of Venom Swamp,
a field spell that lowers the attack of each monster by 500 for each Venom counter on them. And if they reach 0, they go kaboom!
Other than the basic Venom monsters and Venom support cards, he has a very powerful monster known as Venom Minion, a monster that not only is powered up by 500 for each reptile in his grave, but can be brought back after being destroyed by battle by removing 1 reptile from play.
But even that monster compares in comparison to Venomanagagagaga.
Or rather, Venomanagagagaga or something like that, who not only has the same effects as Venom Minion, but cannot be destroyed or targeted by card effects, and if it inflicts damage 3 times, you automatically win the duel, thanks to Hyper Venom counters.
He has proven to use this deck to its full use and be able to summon this great deity of snakes. How can Rebecca possibly survive such powerful monsters?
We are here to find out whether she can or not.
Let the games begin!
Hold it! Before we begin this episode, I have an announcement to make. We are using a different format. Instead of editing out our anime footage to make the train wreck that was the first episode about a year ago, we are instead showing footage from DevPro. However, this also means that it will be a 2 out of 3 duel being shown, which means up to 3 rounds may be shown each duel. Now, with that being said, please enjoy the duel. In the future, we may even do a hybrid system where we combine anime footage with DevPro, or at least voiceovers of the characters. But for now, we are only showing badass background music with the duel. With that said, enjoy the show! And with that, Rebecca Hawkins is the winner. She may be small, but damn can she pull off a combo. Now, why did Rebecca pull off this stunning upset? But simply consistency, which Viper had none of. The only card that could really be a threat to Rebecca's deck was Venomanagagaga, who in every single testing situation where Rebecca had to face Venomanagagaga, she could not win. However, the chances of Viper summoning this monster were extremely slim with his deck, and more times than not, you would see a hand like we did in the last duel, where he literally had nothing he could play that would do a viable play. With that being said, though, Rebecca had other things going for her as well. The fact that there's 3 scapegoats in this deck, as well as 3 cannon soldiers, meant she can do that burn combo pretty efficiently and had multiple ways to bring back monsters and draw more cards and recycle cards, and gain life points in the process. Her deck is actually surprisingly stable with fairly good amount of power, very good support cards. In fact, cards like Imperial Order and Gravity Bind would have done away with everything Viper would have had other than Venomanagagaga, and perhaps offering to the Snake Deity, which was his greatest tool against Rebecca during this duel, other than the Snake Deity herself. Viper put on a good match in this. However, in most cases, well, let's just read the final scores. Rebecca had 7 duel wins, Viper only 3, and the round wins was 15, Viper only 8. Rebecca dealing an average of 7,100 damage, Viper only doing an odd number of 4,470. It was not even close. Rebecca Hawkins, I'm not sure how well she'll do in the future, but damn does she win today. Stay tuned next week for previews of our next episode of the Greatest Duelist Tournament. I hope you enjoy this, tell your friends about it, and Destroyer will be back with the outro, and so will the anime footage of this crappy picture I have up. See ya!